What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Renegade Marquee on the Renegade Pop Culture Podcast Network. My name is Mike. I'll be your host for this evening. Joining me, as always, is the Streamin Demon, Jacob.
Hello.
And returning once again, we've got Hayden.
Hello.
And today, we will be reviewing The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Now, before we get into the film proper, some overall thoughts on the Conjuring universe, which is now 8 films in. Jacob, I'll start with you.
I've only seen the 2 main films plus Annabelle, and they're fine. I really like the first one. The second one, it's slightly less so, but I still enjoy it. Okay, Annabelle was trash though. Yeah. So it's interesting, like a horror movie that's set entirely about the Ed and Lorraine Warren cases. Yeah, like they surprisingly find a lot of material to stretch into like 8 movies, even though a lot of it's fabricated. A lot of I'm pretty sure like Annabelle, like I don't know if that's a real thing. The doll, I know the nun, that's probably not something that they ever were involved with, for instance, or La Llorona, or anyway.
Well, in real life, the Annabelle doll is actually a Raggedy Ann doll.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Oh, the one that they kind of explore in a way that was like in their vaults of like cursed items and stuff.
Yep, there are pictures of the Raggedy Ann doll just sitting there in her glass case.
I guess they weren't allowed to use the Raggedy Ann one for the movie, so they had to create their own.
That sounds very likely.
Yeah, I don't think a toy company would want Raggedy Ann like to be seen as an evil being. Like, I think their sales would go down significantly.
Well, there was Jaws 3D in SeaWorld, so
that's
you
true.
never know.
Hayden, your general thoughts on the Conjuring universe?
Overall, I'm a pretty big fan of the franchise. I saw the first one on a fluke because I just wanted to see something. I was having a difficult day and I just thought, oh, I heard good things about The Conjuring, and I found that I really enjoyed it. And sequel, I actually think in some ways I prefer to the first one for different reasons, but did not see La Llorona or The Nun, but Annabelle, again, pretty bad, but the sequels are pretty good. So
I've heard.
Yeah.
So I never saw the first Conjuring in theaters. It actually took me till a random summer in 2015 when I just watched it on demand, probably because I was writing about either it was Fast 7 or like around the time I finally watched it, it was when James Wan signed up to do Aquaman. So I wanted to just see one of his movies just to be like, okay, so what's he got going for him? Oh wow, The Conjuring is actually really good. Conjuring 2, I actually think is my personal favorite of like this franchise. I think like I love the setting that it's in. I love the crooked man as a villain.
Oh yeah, that was a good bit. Where he moves around like a stop motion puppet.
Yeah. The way like they crafted that character is just so fascinating. Yeah. And I really hope that Crooked Man spinoff sees the light of day.
Yeah.
Annabelle, I think we all agree, is the worst.
Yeah, like it's like a shitty Rosemary's Baby, basically.
Pretty much, but that just makes it all the more impressive that the sequels, well, Creation is a prequel to the prequel, and Annabelle Comes Home is, well, it's not really a Conjuring movie because Ed and Lorraine only show up in the bookends, but it's still a really fun haunted house version of Night at the Museum. The Nun is okay. I like Tessa Farmiga as the main character, and the production design is great because that's been the one consistent element out of all of them, minus Annabelle, which failed to be a period piece.
Just about the only relevant thing that happens in Annabelle is it shows how she got possessed.
Yeah, there's like
everything out of that is just pure fluff.
Exactly.
But it is interesting how creation does like tie in to the first Annabelle movie, because it ties in like very closely. So it's interesting that people liked it, considering how tied the plot is to the first in several ways, with how it leads into the next.
Well, that just shows you how great of a filmmaker David F. Sandberg is. And as for The Curse of La Llorona, it's not great, but it's also not terrible. Like I think the absolute low bar for this franchise is the first Annabelle. Everything else is like a minimum 3 out of 5. And I guess that takes us right into, again, the 8th installment of this universe, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Directed by Michael Chavez, written by David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, and story credited to Johnson McGoldrick and James Wan. So in this installment, paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren take on one of the most sensational cases of their careers after a cop stumbles upon a dazed and bloodied young man walking down the road. Accused of murder, the suspect claims demonic possession as his defense, forcing the Warrens into a supernatural inquiry unlike anything they've ever seen before. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting about this movie is how the true story that it's based on is kind of a departure from the previous two. Like it's not so much like a possession, and more like
it felt to me like a supernatural episode of Law and Order.
That's
that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. You hit the nail round the head there, Hayden.
So Hayden, I'm gonna let you continue. General thoughts on the film.
So I do think it was a step down from the first 2 Conjuring films, but in its own right, I really enjoyed it. And Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, I really love their chemistry with each other. I thought the way it was shot was really pretty. Script had some minor bumps, but overall I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say the strongest element of this movie is the love story between Ed and Lorraine.
Mm-hmm.
Like Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga have always been one of the best parts of these films. And I don't mean to throw Michael Chavez under the bus, because I do think he's a really good director, but I feel like if James Wan were at the helm of this one, like if he were to complete the trilogy, then purely from a story perspective, this might have been the best of the franchise. The only problem is without Wan's direction, I do think the screenplay kind of it's not quite as reined in.
I saw somebody say that maybe it could have worked better as a TV show.
Huh.
And
I actually could see that.
And I actually agree in a lot of ways.
We'll get back to that point later, but Jacob, your general thoughts?
Mixed bag for me. You know, like it just yeah, I did like how it kind of explored the Warrens' relationship, but as in these last two movies, they do a good job of like trying to like they put their relationship really through the ringer. Like they keep finding new ways to do so, trying to test their love for each other. But a part of me kind of wish that this was more of a courtroom drama. You know, I thought that would have been a good way to help distinguish it from the rest of these movies. Because I find myself becoming a little numb to these scare tactics. They're like these jump scares, for instance, and I don't know, all this supernatural stuff. You know, I can imagine if I actually binge watched the Conjuring series, like it could actually be a little draining for me if I watched it all at once, especially. But overall, I love the way it's shot though. It's beautiful. I love the auburn feel that like the lighting gives. Yeah, and it's a decent, you know, little time waster. There are some genuinely good scares. Like the final act, for instance. I thought that was that was chilling enough for me in some areas. But yeah, overall, it's both kind of a step forward and a step back to me.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, I think one of my favorite scares in in the film was definitely the opening sequence with with the exorcist getting the the demon out of the little boy. What was his name? Was it David?
I think so.
Played by Billy from WandaVision.
Yes.
Just
Oh,
bringing
really?
that
That
up.
was him?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, David and Arnie, Rory O'Connor, like the boy who ends up doing the killing. And by the way, when the whole the exorcism is going and Arnie, he's shaking David and he's telling the demon, take me, and then David he like collapses, he's no longer possessed. Like, how come nobody checked on Arnie? All right, like they must have heard him say, you know, take me. Like that should give him a clue of like what the demon's done next.
Maybe they were too focused on the person with the who was shot in the who was not shot. Maybe they were focusing on the person who was just stabbed in the with the glass, I believe it was.
All right.
Yeah.
That might have been
Okay.
part of it, but you're also not wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I do. It is a nice atmosphere, like kind of a jive. Like it does kind of. Though I don't think it quite matches the first one. Like that movie generally made you feel like you were in the middle of nowhere. All right, and that's kind of why that's my favorite of the main three. I just love movies that make you feel helpless and trapped. Like that type of movies is the kind that could really make a horror movie scary for me.
Oh yeah. There's a reason why the first one is still in high regard.
Yeah. I just feel like sometimes when you add in more characters and you make it like a bigger environment, that then it kind of loses that edge.
For some movies that can work. Others it can get a little bit too bloated, but everyone has their own opinion on that. What I'm curious to know is what you guys thought of the villain, the the occultist, played by. Let me see if I can grab this. She was the daughter of John Noble's character.
Yeah, the priest, the former priest.
Yep.
Yeah, she became a demon after he filled her head with all this demon crap, and like she just became infatuated with it.
The actress is Eugenie Bondurant.
She was fine.
I think it's just kind of interesting how this is the first Conjuring movie, at least that I can tell, that actually has a like a human antagonist.
Yeah, that is one thing I liked about it. It did kind of expand it in that way. Like, which if you are gonna have a different antagonist, I think is she like the first human antagonist in these movies?
I think she might be.
I'm a little rusty, but it feels like it.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of surprising that it take them this long to finally have a human villain in it.
And I kind of love how her motivation is just like, I'm just here to cause chaos.
Yeah. There were a lot of daytime sequences in this movie, like compared to the first two. Like, wouldn't you think?
A little bit, yeah.
You know, like when on the cliff, for instance, and like that's actually a scene like I'd expect to play out at nighttime for these movies.
I mean, they do kind of play around with that a little bit when Lorraine goes into goes into
Their
her
visions,
her vision, and those vision sequences I thought were really well staged.
Yeah.
Any other characters that stood out in the movie other than the Warrens and Arnie?
I
there
like
were a
John
lot of-
Noble as the priest was good. Although it is kind of weird how when the Warrens they go to his house and he invites them down to the cellar where he keeps all that possessed stuff, like he has his own collection. And Lorraine, for some reason, she's like, I am not going down there, even though she and Ed literally have their own stash of haunted shit.
I was watching Dan Murrell's review, and he pointed out the same thing. He said, this is the biggest example of pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the one thing is they at least know what they're working with in their place of haunted memorabilia.
Mm-hmm.
They know what they're working with. Here is just, well, they're just walking into something that they don't really fully understand yet. So
yeah, at least in their in their haunted is it a basement, cellar, whatever they have, at least it's like organized chaos. This is like,
Yeah.
this is just chaos.
Like in the box that Annabelle is in, there's a sign that says, "Do not take this out of the box."
I thought all of the other actors gave very solid workman-like performances. I didn't see anybody that I was distracted by in terms of acting one way or the other. So everybody I think did their job pretty well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
One thing that I thought this movie was missing was James Wan's camera work, because he knows how to use the camera to get a scare. Like when he does these lingering shots, you're always anticipating like something bad's about to come up, or or sometimes you don't even know what you're supposed to focus on, so your eyes are just kind of rolling all over the place, like trying to anticipate the scare, where it's going to come from.
Yeah, this is what I meant when I said if Juan was at the helm, this this could have easily been the best of the Conjuring movies, because whatever issues I had with the screenplay, I think Juan could have ironed out all the bugs.
And also Juan only wrote the story, so I don't know how much that plays a part in the script. So maybe if he were more involved in the screenplay process, that it could have tightened it a little more.
Yeah, that makes sense. Although it really makes me wonder, other than scheduling, why he chose Michael Chavez to direct this one. I mean, you guys didn't see The Curse of La Llorona. So
I'm sorry, Linda Cardellini.
I know. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember too much from that movie. I do think Chavez is a good director. It's just I I don't think horror is really his. I know it's weird to say that after he's directed 2 Conjuring movies in a row, but I don't think horror is really Chavez's strong suit, which is kind of weird to say. I would like to see him branch out a little more, and then maybe come back to this universe.
Or maybe it's not. It's just that like this type of horror might not be his bag.
That could
Like
that could be
maybe
it
he
as well.
needs like another kind of like another subgenre to kind of play around with.
Yeah, that could be it. Because even with James Wan, like he was experimenting with like, I don't know if you would consider like the first Saw a slasher, but like he took a few years to really hone in his craft before The Conjuring.
The reason that he did Saw was he and Lee Winnell were trying to more or less produce the least expensive script that they could.
Yeah, they were inspired by the Blair Witch Project, I think, and they made their own short film even, which was the only scene that was like the only scene in the movie that drew inspiration for the short was the reverse bear trap.
Yeah, that was the short to pitch it to Lionsgate. And so basically they were just like, okay, we want to do a movie. What's the cheapest idea we can think of? 2 guys trapped in a bathroom and they don't know why. Build on that, and the franchise was born.
It's incredible how an entire franchise can can spawn from like a singular movie like that. I mean, hell, that's how The Conjuring came to to be where it is now.
About the Warrens, the real Warrens, do you think this Conjuring, these movies would benefit if these movies were a little more ambiguous as to whether or not these hauntings are real?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually.
That's because the Warrens, they're kind of Warrens at this point, aren't they kind of proven to be con artists?
More or less, yes.
Because I really wish we had Tyler on this, because he would have ripped this franchise a new one.
I think then it would have been a different series.
Yeah.
This also like changes the details. Like it looks like they changed the name of the man that Arnie murdered. Maybe so it would kind of distance itself from the actual story of the murder.
These movies, even they try to kind of say that like they do try to convince us these really did happen, because in The Conjuring 2, in the end credits, they were playing the real life tape of like the version of, when they're talking to the girl who was possessed by this demon Bill, and he's doing that scary British voice. My name's Bill, and like that could easily just been a guy, okay, like off screen trying to do like the voice, like couldn't that? Don't you think that's possible? Like, it's believable that was probably it. Like, it was someone doing those voices. It wasn't actually coming out of the girl's mouth.
Do you think that could have been like Ed or
something? I
something?
think it was proven that one of the pictures, the girl literally did just jump on the bed and they took a picture of it.
Yeah. They even like that movie. That's kind of like a problem I had with it, was that they did, like, they had potential to be really ambiguous as to whether she was faking these or not, and then at the end they just kind of wussed out.
I think it's just not that kind of a movie. It's based on the original, and they can make another. I would like for them to make one where the Warrens are kind of shady and
it's not even the worst thing that these two have done. Have you guys heard of what of Ed, basically he had a 15-year-old live with him.
What?
Yeah,
This is news to me.
I that did kind of start trending when this movie was released.
Yes. Ed Warren basically groomed a girl.
Well, good thing I've never actually cared all that much about debating about the true stories of
Yeah.
behind these
Obviously,
films.
like these Conjuring movies, they obviously tried to paint these two in a more humbling light than that. Because if they brought that up, that would make these two significantly less likable.
I know I'm drawing a pretty weird comparison, but for better for worse, the depiction of the Warrens in the Conjuring movies almost it almost kind of reminds me of how P.T. Barnum was portrayed in The Greatest Showman.
Mm-hmm.
In that, like, they're
glossed
not
over certain things about P.T. Barnum that were not noble at all.
Yeah, like they're I don't think they're trying to be completely accurate to real events. Although one valid criticism would be that by including the real tape footage in the credits, it does kind of seem like these movies are trying to have their cake and eat it too, to some extent at least.
I think even in The Great Showman, you can actually make the defense that, like P.T. Barnum was a total con artist, and this movie accurately, it is a con artist in itself.
Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah, what are you gonna say, Hayden?
Yeah, I think it would I do think it's interesting at least to compare and contrast. When they show all the clips and photos in the credits, and it's interesting to see like how little like Ed Warren that Patrick Wilson looks.
Yeah.
I just find it funny how they were just like, this is the real Ed Warren, just like, what a step down from
it's like when
Patrick Wilson.
It's like when they had Anthony Hopkins as Nixon, and one time it actually ends with showing footage of Nixon leaving the White House, and obviously Anthony Hopkins looks nothing like him.
Now on that topic, are there any other like egregious examples of an actor looking nothing like the supposed real life character?
Like, one thing, Tom Hanks is Walt Disney.
Yeah, but it's
Mr. Rogers.
But it's Tom Hanks, so you just kind of instantly buy it.
Yeah. Or how about Sean Penn as Harvey Milk?
I don't think I've ever actually seen like pictures of Milk. But yeah, I'll take your word for that one.
I don't know. He does kind of look like.
There's a little bit of a resemblance with Milk and Penn.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Or what about Naomi Watts as Diana?
That one I could actually see a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not like Kristen Stewart as Princess Diana, which is like.
There was Cuba Gooding Jr. as O.J. Simpson on American Crime Story.
That was just kind of funny.
It was. I mean, I actually did really like that show, but casting wasn't the best there, I will say. I'm thinking about how in Walk Hard they have the Beatles played by Jack Black, Paul Rudd, and they look nothing like them, and that's kind of the joke. And they just keep repeating their names over and over again. It's so nice to be here with John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and yeah.
More people should watch Walk Hard.
Everybody should watch that film. Oh yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch really does not look like Alan Turing in the game.
No, he
does not look like him at all.
No, he doesn't. I just googled him. Yeah.
But going back to the Conjuring, the Devil Made Me Do It. Despite how dissimilar Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga look compared to the real Warrens, I don't know. I still can completely buy into their romance and just everything surrounding their story.
Look, I'm not complaining. If I were told to choose between the real Ed and Lorraine Warren and Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, I would just go for the actors any day.
Same.
How do you all feel about the title?
It is a striking title. I'll give it that.
Because on one hand, I get it, considering that was like what the court case was known as. But on the other hand, it does kind of contrast with the other two, with the past couple of films, and it comes across as maybe a little cheesier than they intended.
There is some cheese in that title, but at the same time, this movie does take place in the early 80s, and that decade was all about cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just that it doesn't fit the tone of the movie as much as I think they would have liked it to. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And
maybe just either call it The Devil Made Me Do It and like no Conjuring subtitle, or like just like maybe like have like The Devil Made Me Do It, The Conjuring Saga, like in like tiny little fonts under that or something. I don't know. It feels weird, and it feels a little bit overlong as a title to me.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how we said before how this movie is in many ways a departure from the previous films, and the title being as clunky as it is just another one of those examples.
Yeah, I just feel a lot of different ways about the title. It doesn't hurt the movie for me, or it's just I'm just nitpicking and like thinking about how I feel about it, really.
What if the next Conjuring movie was the trial of the Warrens?
Yeah, maybe if it turns out, maybe they actually start to question who. Maybe these are all delusions that these Warrens are under. Or I don't know, maybe the twist is like these demons that were giving them these visions, that they're actually helping these people, that they're real when actually, or they're telling themselves that to believe that what they're saying is true. So they kind of like gaslight themselves, or I don't know, like they fool themselves into thinking that these cases really are, and that these possessions actually do happen.
That would be pretty fascinating.
Yeah, and actually kind of see them a different way.
Has there ever been a franchise that just completely goes against the ethos of all of the past movies?
Well, Spectre, it implied that all of Bond's missions, like the Daniel Craig Bond missions, they were planned or something. They were like connected somehow, right?
Yeah, but that's not really like going against the point of the movies.
Yeah, that's true.
This is just like everything that we told you in the past 3 movies is a lie. Which is different.
Well, I know the Bourne 2, that said that Jason Bourne wasn't really Jason Bourne, right?
Admittedly, it's been a while since I've seen the original Bourne trilogy. But yeah, if they ever do make a fourth Conjuring movie, and it does turn out to be like a complete criticism of the Warrens, that would just be, I would be fascinated to see like how they could actually pull it off.
It would be really funny if they just got 2 completely different actors to play them.
Yeah. actually look like their counterparts. That would actually help the illusion, yeah, because shows that Ed Lorne isn't nearly as handsome as Patrick Wilson.
Very few people are as handsome as Patrick Wilson, admittedly.
That is true. One more thing I do want to mention before we start winding down is another thing that's been consistent, at least across the flagship Conjuring movies, is Joseph Bashar's score.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of noise, like that kind of claustrophobic. It kind of sounds like some deranged carnival in a way. The music,
Yeah.
like the opening logos, like you hear like the little strings.
I do want to bring up one additional point. Then this is just a slight missed opportunity for me. So you know how the first two movies like kind of start with like the original like logos like for the studios?
Yeah.
How cool would it have been if this opened with like the Nightmare on Elm Street era New Line logo?
Oh,
man,
yeah.
How cool would that have been?
Like how
that would have been fun.
Yeah, like how Joker used the 70s Warner Brothers logo. Yeah, I love it when studios do that. When they go back to their arc, like when Once Upon a Time in Hollywood used the 69 Columbia logo.
Yeah.
I really do think more period pieces should use the logo of like that respective period. The only studio who can't really do that though is Netflix.
Oh yeah. It'd be nice if they tried though. That'd be cool. Like if they like what would this logo look like, in the 50s or whatever?
Yeah, it's like Netflix and Amazon have to they'd have to like completely reinvent their logo, but all of the other majors can
could do like the Amazon logo back when it was just a website.
Yeah. Or like 30 years from now they can just like Netflix, they can just use the old one where it was just like text Netflix and not just an in. Like if they did like if in 2046 or whatever they do like a period piece in the 2010s and they use that original logo.
Something else that happened, I'm just remembering other things. So you know the scene when they were in the morgue and the big bulky guy started like attacking them.
Yeah, like
oh yeah,
big fat guy. Yeah,
my audience started laughing hysterically that entire scene, and it was kind of killing the mood.
Yeah, I was gonna wonder if we were gonna mention that. What was that guy then? Like, what was he?
I think he was a possessed corpse that like they entered
like a bloated corpse
guy or something. Yeah, but my audience was just laughing hysterically, and it was admittedly a little distracting.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, I kind of wish I saw the movie in theaters just for that scene. I couldn't find a screening yesterday, so I had to watch this on HBO Max. But man, some of these moments I imagine would have killed with an audience.
Like, are there any scenes that you can think of that are like unintentionally funny that audiences laughed at?
I don't know about that, but one of the more uncomfortable moments, well, that kind of started funny, was when what's his name, the guy, I think it was Bruno, the boss that Arnie murders. He's
okay.
Yeah, he's like drunk and dancing to the music, and
yeah,
that whole scene was that was very,
Very jarring needle drop, I will say.
Yes.
What other from just other movies? What can you think of unintentionally funny scenes? Because I did hear in Fellowship of the Ring when Galadriel does that. You will set me up as a queen, terrible as a knight, and like she looks like she's from the Ring. I do think I hear that audiences laughed at that.
I don't remember how my audience reacted when I saw that scene. But yeah, that is a pretty good example.
There are some scenes that you look back at and you realize are funnier than you thought they were, just because everything's changed now and effects can be like slightly better. And effects that were good back then can suddenly become really funny now. But I'm just going off of what I can think of.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot from other films that are jumping out now. As far as like dated effects go, I'm kind of terrified at the thought of watching the original Toy Story in theaters.
Oh yeah, the animation.
Like I still love the movie, but that mid 90s CG does not hold up today.
Yeah, that's
for
right.
For the humans and the animals, it doesn't. Toys, it's fine.
Yeah, that's probably why actually VeggieTales from that period is more appealing now than Toy Story, the original Toy Story is.
Yeah, surprisingly, VeggieTales.
Yeah, because they didn't even give the characters limbs. I love it when we have these podcasts and we just have completely random references. Like, who would have thought we'd be talking about VeggieTales in this one?
Yeah, we're going through a lot of tangents, but unfortunately,
I love them.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just this movie, as much as I did enjoy watching The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Unlike the first two films, there's not a whole lot. There's not really a whole lot other than the Warrens' love story that really stands out the way those previous two have.
Yeah, I think for a movie like this, like going on a tangent is like the only way we can really make a substantive podcast, because I'm finding myself at a loss on some things to say. Besides, yeah, I liked it. So,
and you know what? That's fine. Not every movie is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, or the worst thing my eyes have witnessed.
Right.
This one's just like well, I don't want to say above average, because I liked it a little bit more than that, but it's not top shelf. So on Twitter, I just off the cuff ranked the Conjuring movies.
I saw that just now.
Hayden, I'll throw this one to you, since you're only missing like a few entries. Where would you place The Devil Made Me Do It?
Out of the ones that I have seen, just by default, probably above the first Annabelle, like, so second to last.
All right.
But also, like, just take into consideration that it's just because I think the other movies, for the most part, I enjoyed a lot more. This I enjoyed pretty decently, and then there's like Annabelle like a couple slots down.
Yeah, so for me, it goes The Conjuring 2, then The Conjuring, then it goes Annabelle Comes Home, then Creation, then The Devil Made Me Do It, then The Nun, The Curse of La Llorona, piles and piles of dirt, and then Annabelle.
Yeah, that sounds about right for me. That sounds like about what I would do if I ever get around to watching The Nun or La Llorona. Those would probably be there too.
Jacob, of the ones that you haven't seen, which ones do you think you'll gravitate towards the most?
Well, The Nun, actually, I like that setting from what I've seen. Again, I just like secluded areas, and that just seems like one to me.
And are you ever going to catch up with the Annabelle sequels?
I might. Although I gotta mention, since we're on the subject of horror movies, I saw The Empty Man just now on video on demand.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing mixed things about that.
Let me tell you, the trailer does not do that movie justice. It's an incredible debut for a guy who before this only did like making of documentaries. It's so much more intelligent and philosophical than the trailer would have you think. Trust me.
Boy, that is a relief, because
Yeah, it's basically like an art film, a horror art film.
wow.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw the trailer for The Empty Man, I was one of those basic bitches who immediately compared it to The Bye Bye Man, which the less said about that movie, the better.
And the Slender Man.
That too.
That's what people were
Oh,
comparing.
yeah,
to the
that
Slender
did
Man.
happen. The
Yeah.
Slender Man was a movie that existed.
Yeah, Disney, they did that Empty Man so dirty because they showed the trailer for it a week before it was released, and showed in theaters during a freaking pandemic, and it's not even released on DVD and Blu-ray. You can only watch it on demand.
Wow.
Like, you thought the New Mutants got a raw deal, then wow, poor The Empty Man. It is getting a cult following, though. There is that, though. So,
Well,
yeah, check that one out if you haven't seen it. Please do. It's so good.
I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah. It's very cerebral. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. It's very slow, but I dug it. I really dug it.
Nice.
If we're doing recent horror recommendations, last year, like, around October, I watched Haunt and Host, the Shudder original,
Yeah, that was
as a double feature, and boy, those movies are
Sorry, which Haunt?
the one directed by the writers of A Quiet Place.
I was at the screening of that with them and Eli Roth.
Oh, nice.
So they talked about the movie, and it might have been the premiere actually, but don't quote me on that.
Still, that's awesome that you got to be at a screening with them.
Yeah, and I actually so it was pretty cool. So I saw that in theaters with them. That was great.
Yeah, Haunt and another like similar sort of like a movie similar to that genre is 2018's Hellfest, which is kind of like a the generic brand version of like Universal's Haunt, like the Universal Haunted Horror Nights, and that movie's a lot of fun.
Nice.
And any other horror recommendations before we close out this episode?
I was talking about horror movies that made you feel isolated, and so the two big ones for me are The Strangers and Mother.
Ooh.
which, by the way, you're in the middle of making a special video on, Hayden.
Yes, I am, which I have not begun yet because I'm really exhausted right now with all of that, but it's in the works. Hopefully I'll get it done by tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing what you come up with for that.
Oh god, so much pressure now.
But any final thoughts on The Conjuring? The Devil Made Me Do It. Wow, that title is way too long.
Yeah, you've realized that. It's fine. That's really all I can say. Watch it if you're a huge Conjuring fan. All right, just don't expect it to be as many interesting directions as it probably should have.
Yeah, that ditto. Just if you're a fan of the Conjuring franchise, then go see it. You probably know what you're gonna get, more or less. Just yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. If you're a Conjuring fan, I'm sure you've already seen this at least a couple times. But if you're not, then I don't know what to tell you. But that'll do it for this episode of Renegade Marquee. Before we head out of here, Hayden, where can everyone find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at the Hayden Wilder and on Instagram at Hayden Wilder.
And Jacob?
You can find me on Facebook and Twitter under Joe Crable, Krehbiel, and on Letterboxd, Streamin Demon. I'm also part of the Renegade Pop Culture Facebook group.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at Captain Kaye42. You can check out all my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. Find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can also look for us on Podchaser. And you can listen to all of our previous podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. You can catch me every once in a while on Suddenly Soundtracks on the PJ Campbell Network. And you can look for all of our content on renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we. That'll do it for this episode, and we will catch you guys later. Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.